Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Turley, it's good to see you again. You are a frequent witness for a variety of different hearings for the Republicans. And in fact, you testified in the last Congress related to an impeachment investigation. And as I recall, you testified that you believed that the Republican investigation related to Hunter Biden's private foreign investments did merit an impeachment investigation against President Biden, I guess based on alleged meetings that the president had with Hunter's business partners, even though there was never any evidence presented that they discussed Hunter's business ventures, or that the president ever financially benefited from those ventures. Is that generally an accurate assessment? You didn't call for impeachment, you just suggested there should be an investigation, right?
The purpose of that hearing was to determine whether there could be an impeachment inquiry and whether if
I'm just asking what you testified, Mr.
I'm trying to say
well,
that.
No, did you say directly that there was a legitimate basis to move forward with an impeachment investigation?
Yeah, what I said is that if those allegations were proven, they could amount to impeachable offenses.
All right. Well, let's focus for a second on some conduct that's been going on over the last few months. Related to World Liberty Financial. Are you familiar with that company?
No.
You're not familiar, okay. Are you familiar at all with Donald Trump's interest in cryptocurrency?
No.
So you're not familiar with the fact that Donald Trump issued a meme coin 2 or 3 days before his inauguration?
I saw something of that in the press, but I'm not that familiar with it.
Okay. Well, let's hypothetically, it's not hypothetical, it's true, Donald Trump has a financial interest in a meme coin named after himself. And he recently offered a VIP White House tour and special reception to the meme coin's 25 biggest holders. After that announcement, the coin surged more than 50%. Does that seem like something that warrants investigation to you, Mr. Turley?
Well, there's no question that you can investigate that to see if there was any criminal conduct. I want to distinguish between that and the influence peddling scandal that the hearing was about in the Biden administration.
I'm not talking about that hearing. And I know you like to filibuster, Mr. Turley. No, I'm happy to talk about that hearing. It was the biggest joke of an investigation. It was embarrassing that you call yourself a credible criminal professor, that you would actually think that there was any evidence that warranted an investigation. But I'm focusing right now because it would seem to me, if you have any credibility, you would agree that auctioning off a White House tour for the highest investors in your own company would warrant either impeachment or criminal investigation. But let me move on because it gets worse. The president is a significant financial beneficiary of a company called World Liberty Financial, which issues a stable coin. Are you familiar with stable coins?
I'm not.
Okay, a stable coin is essentially a digital version of a dollar that can be used in transactions. Recently, the World Liberty, this organization which Donald Trump is a beneficiary of, entered into a deal with a UAE-backed company that would complete a $2 billion transaction with a company that has previously admitted to engaging in money laundering. And Donald Trump's company will now generate tens to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue from that transaction with a foreign government. And I'm sure you're familiar with the Foreign Emoluments Clause, Mr. Turley. Would you say that based on that information, since apparently you only follow Hunter Biden's finances and not President Trump's, would you say that based on me providing you with that information, that would warrant an impeachment investigation?
Congressman, when you say that we have to preserve our credibility, I think you would agree.
Can you answer the question, sir?
He's trying to answer the question.
No,
Your time has expired. I will allow the gentleman to answer the question.
Thanks. In the interest of credibility cited by the member, I'm not going to rely on the facts that you just gave me for the first time to render a judgment on it. I'm not opposed to investigations of alleged corruption. That was the point of the previous hearing. But the way to establish credibility is not, as you did, sir, just engage in personality attacks and personal innuendos. I'm happy to speak with you and to work with you about anything dealing with corruption in this building. I've been writing about that for 3 decades. I've been called as a witness for both the Democrats and Republicans dealing with that.
Well,
but the way to presume...
I've only seen you as a witness.
Your time has
for the
expired, sir.
Republicans.
Your time has expired.
I'm happy to yield back.
Did you finish your question?
Only that the way that we can actually regain...
I thought my time has expired.
Your time has expired. I said your time expired. He gets an opportunity to finish answering the question. You
Well, I'd like to reclaim my time. Since
you have no
answering a
additional
question.
time.
He's
You are out of order.
He's
Be
answering
quiet.
my question.
You are out of order.
I would like to reclaim
You cannot.
my time.
No. He's answering the question because you personally attacked him. I've said he can answer the question. I give that
How
courtesy.
did I personally attack him, Mr. Chairman?
You attacked his credibility. We're not going to get into
That's not a personal attack.
we're not getting into this right now. What we're going to
He's
get
a witness. His credibility matters, sir.
You are out of order. You are out of order. You're done. You can't say anything else right now. You may finish answering your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that the one lesson from this exchange is that it's possible that we can restore credibility in this institution if we can just get beyond the personal attacks.
There were no personal attacks, Mr. Turley. You are a witness.
Done.
Your credibility matters.
You, sir, you have lost your credibility with me. I gave that courtesy to everyone on this bench.
Mr. Chairman.
You ask a question. If they wanted to continue to answer beyond the time limit, I said, time's expired, you may answer the question. That's my routine. That's what I did today. You challenged him, asked him a question. You wanted an answer. Your time has expired. He is answering the question.
Mr. Chairman,
You don't like his answer. Because you don't like his answer, you want to shut him up. What's your inquiry?
My inquiry is when you offered when my time was up at 00 for him to answer the question, he went and answered the question. You then gavelled and said my time was up.
That's not a parliamentary inquiry.
You gavelled and
that's
said
not
my
a
time is up.
parliamentary
I would like
inquiry.
to know when
That's not a parliamentary
my time
inquiry.
is up and when he gets to continue answering
That is not a parliamentary inquiry. Your parliamentarian's about to tell you. That's not a parliamentary inquiry.
He actually disagrees. He thinks it is a parliamentary
That's not a parliamentary inquiry.
Why? I'm asking for the process question, the process question as to when my time is up, which you allowed him to answer the question. You then gavelled and said my time is expired.
Yeah.
And then you then offered him to answer the question again, which he already had done.
No, sir. If we were to watch.
You did it based on accusations that I was personally attacking him, which I was not.
Excuse me. Not only are you out of order, you're being incredibly rude. Here's the deal. I gave everybody the same courtesy. You didn't like where he was going. You began interrupting again, but your time was expired. He was trying to answer the question. You didn't like the answer.
That is false. I'm happy to have this answer.
No, that's what happened.
I didn't like the accusation that I was personally attacking him. His credibility.
I didn't say that till the third round when you interrupted.
And
you continue to interrupt. You continue to be out of order.
And then I asked you,
are out of order.
I asked you, what am I personally attacking? And you said his credibility, and he is a witness. His credibility matters.
You're out of order. You are so far out of order.
Well, you are not conducting this in a fair and equitable way.
Sure I am.
Because
everybody got the same courtesy. You asked a question, they're going to finish answering. Everybody got that same courtesy. You interrupted him while he was giving the answer. That's why you got gavelled.
And then
you got interrupted.
And then you said
you interrupted.
My time,
that's why
and then you said my time is up, which is when you would go to the next person.
I gave the same courtesy to every member on your side of the aisle as I gave over here. When your time was expired, 5 minutes expired. If they were in the middle of answering the question, I let it go. Now, we can talk about that round and round all you want. That's what I did. That's what I do.
Well, I look
That's what
forward to
was
you
happening here.
continuing to do that.
Yeah, well, good. And I look forward to you being in order next time. So, Mr. Turley, you may continue to answer the question that he so much doesn't want to hear.
I've never been so certain in saying I'm happy to move on.
Very good. Thank you. Now, I'll yield to my